I'm gonna do a couple of hive inspections today. It's been about a week and a half. I had arthroscopic knee surgery, so I haven't felt like standing out here and doing this for a little bit, but needs to be done. This is Hive 2, the second one I got, obviously. And last time we were in here, they had been using the sugar syrup a little bit, so I gave them a little bit more. I've opened the lid and checked it a couple of times since then, and it doesn't seem like they're using it a lot, so we'll see how they're doing with it today. They haven't eaten a great deal of it. There's a little bit that's gone. There's a few bees up in there, but not a whole lot. You can probably see a few there. But I'm not really sure that's doing us much good anymore. We'll make a decision on whether to leave that shortly. But for now, it's coming off so we can get into the boxes. Quite a few bees on top there, so that's a good sign. Of course, it is relatively early in the morning and it's a little bit cool, so most of these bees are probably going to be home right now. Would like to do this a little later in the day, but I've got other things going on, so I got to get it done when I can get it done. Pretty decent population of bees in there. They're not really liking me in here right now. This is the first time they've been kind of aggressive towards me. They're not bad, but they're obviously not real happy. Alright, frame number 1 is still completely new. Nothing on it. Frame number 2, I can see one side has just the tiniest bit of comb built out on it. And about a quarter of the comb on frame 3 built, or the other side's built it out. Frame 3. Is pretty heavy. So this side's built out well, full of nectar. This side I believe had the wonky comb on it last time. It's got a little bit of weird comb on it, but it's got nice honey built out right there in that corner. So I'm glad to see they're building honey, putting honey in there and capping it off. Frame 4. A little bit of capped brood. A lot of that's hatched recently, I think. And that side's pretty much all capped brood. Frame 5 is very heavy. All capped brood that side, all capped brood that side. Six is a lot of larvae, a little bit of capped brood. Those larvae look like they're ready to be capped off pretty soon. And that side is pretty empty. Seven looks like honey. Seven's a lot of nectar and a little bit of capped honey on one side. The other side is new. And 8 is new. So these bees are doing okay, but they don't need another box quite yet. I think since it's out here, and they're still in the process of trying to build comb on some of this, or they need to build comb on some of this, I'm just going to leave that sugar water on top. Let them have it if they want it. If they don't, they won't use it. That's fine. Frame number 1, comb is empty. Got a little bit of nectar on that side. Well, these girls are all in my way. They probably feel the same way about me. Frame number 2 is got nectar and pollen, mainly a little bit of honey up in the upper corner there. Don't want to drop it like that. Frame 3, lots of larvae, little bee bread there. Lots of young larvae in that side, a little bit of capped. A little bit of older larvae. Frame 4. Some bee bread. Eggs in there. Eggs on that side as well. So I'm not going to spend any time looking for the queen since I saw eggs. Frame 5, capped brood. Frame 6. Capped brood and bee bread. Capped brood. Seven is empty on one side, new on the other. And 8 is got some nectar on one side and empty on the other, or new on the other. Alright, so now we've moved over to hive number 1. This has 2 brood boxes, 2 deep brood boxes, and 1 medium super. There's no clean excluder on it, so they can use it for whatever they want to right now. And I'm going to do my first mite check today. Got these bees in, I think, mid-April. I've not done a mite check on them. I was told that there was a mite check done and they were good before I got them. And the guy I got them from said he typically treats his again in the July time frame. So I'm gonna do a check today. I think there's enough bees that I can do it without too much trouble, and we'll go from there. The top of the supers, it's got a decent number of bees in it. Not a terrible amount, not a huge amount, but they're there. And they've definitely been up in here propolizing a little bit. Oh, so they've started to build that out. I don't know how well you can see that. I'll try to show the edge, but they've definitely started building out that outer frame there. That's frame number 1 on both sides. Frame number 2 also being built out, empty, a little more built out. Frame 3 built out, empty. Frame 4 empty. Frame 5, not quite as built out, but they're working on it, empty. Six is new. 7 is new. And 8 is new. These have only been on here for maybe a week and a half or so. So that's pretty good progress for that period of time. Alright, so this is the upper brood box. It's a deep. These bees are being a little calmer than the ones in the other box were, and I appreciate that. So I mentioned doing a mite check, and in the interest of ensuring that I tell people what I'm talking about that may not know bees, varroa mites are an insect or a mite that gets on the bees. Kind of think of it like a tick to a certain extent for humans or animal or dogs. The mite itself does a little bit of damage to the bees, but the bigger part is when you get a big bunch of mites in there, they carry viruses that will eventually harm your bees a lot. So you check for mites occasionally. When you get a certain number of mites in there, what they call a mite load, then you have to do a treatment and try to kill them, or at least knock them back. If you don't do that, your bees will suffer immensely. So frame one there has nectar on both sides. Ooh, that one's heavy. Frame two, nectar. A lot of nectar, a little bit of capped honey there. I'd rather see them use this more for brood. Maybe there's brood in the center and move up for the honey. But they're going to do what they're going to do. Yeah, there's capped brood there, so that's good. There's some older larvae, some pretty new, pretty fresh larvae on that one. Mostly capped there. Also some larvae in that stage is there. That one is a lot of larvae. A little bit of capped on that side, good bit of larvae on that side. Those are pretty fresh, and there's some eggs in there. I'm going to set this one aside as one to do a test from, because you want that open larva, but I need to spot my queen first because I want to make sure that I don't accidentally test her. Because unfortunately, testing requires you to kill a few bees, which nobody likes to do, but it's really the only accurate method to do it. It takes about 300 bees to do it, which is a very small part of the colony, and you're potentially saving 30, 40, 60,000 bees by doing that test. So there's another one that has lots of there's lots of eggs on this side, a little bit of young larvae, tiny bit of capped. Still don't see the queen. Oh, lots of good open larvae on that one. So not seeing the queen, I think that'll be another good one to test from. But I still got to find that queen. Maybe she'll be on this frame and we can be done. Or she may not be down below still. So lots of eggs on this one. Lots of capped brood, a little bit of egg, some honey there. Trying to look more distinctly for that queen. I do not see her. So this is frame number 7. Nectar, capped honey, nectar. And frame 8. That one's mostly empty. There's a little bit built out, but not very much. So I'm going to spend a couple minutes looking at these frames again. Try to make sure my queen's not on there, and if she's not, or if I don't see her, we're going to shake these off and use them for the mite check, because I think this is the right frames to do it from. Alright, I've done a pretty good check on there, and I'm pretty sure she's not there. So what I'm going to try to do is knock a bunch of those bees off. So the ones that fly away are the forager bees, and those are not the ones you want to test. You want to test the worker bees. The nurse bees, actually, I'm sorry. Those are the ones that tend to have the mites on them because they're waiting for them to get ready to cap the brood. Which is another reason that you choose a frame that has lots of open brood. Alright, again, I'm not seeing the queen on this, so I'm going to go ahead and shake it off in there. And the way you do this is you scoop up half a cup of bees. You want to get a full half cup because that's your 300, and you dump them in. And there's rubbing alcohol in there, which basically kills them instantly. But that's what knocks the mites off, and then you can count the mites from there. So we're going to dump these bees back in their hive. Try not to step on any of them that are on the ground there. Put these back in. And we're going to move on from there. So I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of my inspection before I worry about the mite check, the rest of the mite check. I got what I need to do it there. I'm going to take a quick look in the bottom box and see how it looks. And then we'll do the rest of that mite check. I got to say, it is a little unnerving to do that without having actually seen my queen. But I tried to inspect pretty carefully to make sure she wasn't on either of those two that we used. But if you accidentally test her in there, like I said, it kills those bees, so you would kill your queen, which would obviously not be a good thing. So, bottom box looks pretty much the same as the top did. Meaning, there's a good number of bees in here. It looks pretty healthy from my standpoint. Having to kind of move bees out of the way so I can move frames. But again, they're being pretty docile with me, so I'm appreciative of that. Alright, frame number one's got a little bit of nectar in it. little bit of wonky comb on that side. That's there's a drone comb there. I'm gonna press that down just a little bit, or maybe I'll take it out of there to try to get them to rebuild that properly. I'm trying to shake the bees off of there so I don't kill any while I'm doing this. Obviously they didn't care for that too much. So I just cut that wax out, and they'll rebuild that and make it better next time, hopefully. All right, they've got that built up pretty well. Kind of an empty spot in the middle there. I think that's where I cut some wax out before. A little bit of capped brood, a lot of bee bread there, so they're preparing for more brood. Got a couple of bees buzzing around my head now. That tells me they're not real happy, but they're not being real aggressive either. Lots of capped brood on that one. That side's all capped brood too. That's frame number 3. Frame 4. Almost all capped brood, a little bit of open larva there. Hive is all capped on both sides. I'm not spending a lot of time looking for the queen, but I would like to see her. Six is bee bread. Oh, there's a lot of eggs on that one, so maybe the queen's around here somewhere. Oh, there she is right there. No, that's not her either. But I gotta believe she's down in here with all those eggs. Seven. Again, lots of eggs on that one. She could be over here somewhere. Cap brood, larva, eggs. And finally, frame 8. Nectar and pollen on that side. This side's about half built out and new. So, slide everything back together now. Again, I would have liked to seen my queen, but with the number of eggs I saw in this bottom one, I feel like she's probably down here. She wasn't up above. And again, I checked pretty carefully before I did that shake off, so I'm fairly certain I didn't get my queen, but it worries me a little. Good news is with the eggs, if I did get her and they realize it, they can make a new queen. If they have to. Alright. Put everything back together here, and I'll bring you back on for the mite wash. So, came back to the shop to do the mite check. There's the bees in the little container. And the way you do this is there's alcohol in there that covers them up, and you spend a couple of minutes. I've already started this, just swirling them around. The alcohol obviously kills the bees, as I said earlier, but it knocks the mites off of them too, and the mites will fall down to the bottom of this, and I can look and see how many mites there are. Wanted to show you something I think is really cool. That comb that I cut off, the wonky comb that was drone comb, hopefully you can see it right there. There's a drone. It's just emerging there, coming out of his cell. So these other little cells have drone drone brood in them too. But we'll let that little guy hatch and go free. Maybe we'll take him back out there and dump him out by the hive. But the rest of that's going to go away. I don't think I need drones right now. Hopefully, like I said, if they have to raise a new queen, I might need drones. But there's some come out of the other hive, so I think would be okay. So at this point, you're supposed to just be able to hold this up and look and see the mites in there. I don't know how well you can see that, but I can see one in the corner. There's a couple in there, not too many, thankfully. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, looks like 5 in there. So I'll double check that, but approximately 300 bees. If you have 6 mites, that's a 2% infestation rate, which is not bad this time of the year, but it does mean that I need to put some treatment on there. So I've got to figure out what my treatment options are. There's certain things you can't use in the heat of summer, and there's certain things that you can't use when you're trying to get honey out. I'm not really planning on getting any honey out, but I'd like to keep that option open. So I'm going to have to go and figure out which treatment to use on them. And we'll put a treatment in there in the next couple of weeks. The other hive is a little bit smaller yet. It came into me a couple of weeks later, almost a month later, I think. So I will give it a little bit more time before I do its test again. Since this one's pretty good, I'm faithful. The other one will be okay as well, and we'll figure out whether we need to treat it or not. So once again, I appreciate you coming along in the journey. Hopefully the camera angle wasn't terrible for you. And if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll do my best to answer them. This is Brad with Cardinal Crest Apiary, and I am out. So this is the results of the mite wash. 1, 2, 3, 4. I said earlier in the video I had 5, but one of the fifth one, I thought was a fifth one, was actually just a piece of propolis that when it looked a little different. It was a lighter color brown, and when I touched it, it just dissolved, so I know it was propolis. So 4 mites out of 300 bees is a 1.5%, or 1.3%, I guess. That's not bad at all, but I still will put a treatment on. I'll probably give them another month, and then I'll put a treatment on there. They're doing pretty good right now. Again, Brad with Cardinal Crest Apiary, out.